I'm near Walton-on-the-Naze. This is the lowest tide in February. This is a low spring tide. This is actually a tide that goes below chart datum. So I've come to a sandy beach to see what I might find on the shore on an open sandy beach. North Sea facing coast. Totally different environment from what I'm used to. The shallow, muddy, warm estuaries of southeast Essex. It's really, really foggy. On the way down, that was some of the thickest fog I've ever driven through. But let's crack on. Let's see what I can find. Not sure this is a good idea really, because this is as featureless as it gets, but we'll see. Notice all these white marks on the groin. That's oysters. Someone's come down here and taken all the oysters off of the groin. And talk about leave nothing else for anyone else. Blimey. Got limpets there, if nothing else. There's a couple of oysters left. And someone has cleared this right out. Look at that, look. Every single one of them. Nearly every single one of them anyway. Came across this little sandy pool at the end of the groin. Dragged the landing net through there. Look at that beautiful little flatfish, look. A common shrimp or brown shrimp. I'm not sure, because it's so small I don't really want to handle it and have a look. I'll have a look at the photos later and try and determine what it is. But it's probably either a dab, a plaice or a flounder. But I'm going to put him straight back because I don't want him out of the water too long. Stress him out. Yeah, back you go. Right, the first thing I'm finding that's any use to me that's edible are these whelks. That's the second one I've found washed up. So yeah, I'll take them. I'll do something with them. I'm sure you're going to notice, before I get scolded in the comments, I've brought two left-hand gloves out, so I'm wearing that one back to front. I know that. What a pillock. But there you go. Wow, look at that. Look at the sun coming up over in the east. That's beautiful. That's going to rise above that mist in a minute. What a beautiful place to be. Even though it is misty. Well, it's lifting there anyway. But yeah, I've turned the camera on to show you. This is what the groins should look like. That's full of oysters. Loads of them. All sorts of ages. And that other one that we see, that was totally devoid of oysters, that's because that's nearer to where you can park your car. Because it's more accessible, people have taken the oysters there. Small shore crab. It's a female. This is an interesting feature on a usually featureless sandy beach. I've been told at low tide along this coast that you get peat ledges. Sounds like a bloke's name, doesn't it? But peat or clay ledges. And I just thought I'd come down here to have a look on a really low tide to see for myself, and there you go. It's like, I suppose, a miniature reef. So if you ever come down here fishing on a clean sandy beach and wonder why you're losing tackle, that's possibly why. I can see just out there as well, about 20 yards offshore and further down the beach as well, that the waves are hitting something shallow. Like there's banks of this stuff here that are not always exposed. Right, I was just digging about in that clay or peat or whatever it is, and I found a piddock clam. It's alive, but taking it out of the clay, I've broken it. I've smashed the other side of it, so if I could get a few of them, I could maybe get a feed. I don't want to disturb this clay too much because there's not too much of it exposed. I don't want to ruin the environment. The sun's come right up now, and what a beautiful morning it's turning out to be. I've just walked for miles, and I'm not finding much on the shore, but what I am finding are these whelks just sitting on the surface. So I'll take them and I'll do something with them. Also, I've noticed, look at this great big dead tree. Look at that. I wonder how long that's been there. And I wonder how often that gets exposed. It must have been there for a long time, because you can see how many creatures have bored into the wood. That's amazing, that just sat there for God knows how long. Look at that anemone in there, look. And whatever the hell that is. Loads of them anemones here. Everywhere, look. All closed up, these ones, because they're exposed. Small oyster. Another exposed log, like a miniature reef there, sitting there. Loads of these anemones. And what do I spy there? A great big whelk. Look at that. That's whelk's eggs. There's some in situ there, and there's actually whelks, baby whelks inside some of them eggs there. There's a common starfish. There's a hermit crab, good smooth hound bait. That's a decent size as well. In an old whelk shell. Might not be able to see it because how bright the sun is, but exposed out there is one of them clay ledges. I'm going to try and get out there if the water's shallow enough. That's a pain in the neck. I'm going to need waders to get out there, so I'll know for next time I can see another raised, exposed bit of, I think they're peat ledges. I keep calling them clay ledges, but they look like peat to me. But whatever they are, they're not often exposed. So either a tiny little jellyfish or a washed up sea gooseberry. There's a couple here. There's one there. There's one there. What do we have here? Another hermit crab. Just fell into a deep hole there. Got to be careful here. Just wondering if there's any more of them piddock clams in there. I had a little root about in there and I found one. Well, there's one, I suppose there's got to be others. It's another one of them piddock clams. Give that a go. Don't normally find them on the shore alive, well I don't anyway. There's another one. And they're in there. I don't want to make too much damage because there's not a lot of it here. But I'll try and get a few out and see what they taste like. There's a ragworm there. Look at that, white rag. Well, it looks like white rag to me. Right, there's a decent size piddock clam, but unfortunately, digging that out, I've broken it. That's the biggest one I've had so far. Right, the tide is fast approaching. I haven't had much time to really go through this and have a look, but I think it's good in a way because it preserves it. You can't come down here and just dig it all up, which is not my intention really. I've only dug a couple of patches and I've left the rest of it the way it was. I've maybe just scratched the surface, but I've got a few piddock clams. Trouble is, digging them out, they get broken, but if I'm going to eat them pretty soon, they're not going to go off that quick. So if I cook these up fairly lively, they should be okay to eat. Excuse the barnet if it looks like it's in a mess, but I was wearing a woolly hat earlier because it was freezing. Now the sun's come out, it's really warm. This is as nice as a day you can get in Essex in February. This is beautiful. I'm going to give these a right good wash in seawater and possibly even cook them in seawater. Everybody keeps telling me that's the way to go, but look at these whelks. Piddock clams are alright, they're not massive, but we'll give them a go. That's the biggest one. It's a shame that it broke. I've cooked the oysters, the limpets and the piddock clams. It's easy for me to say, piddock clams. And I've done them for about, I don't know, 10 or so minutes. The whelks I'm leaving for about 20 minutes. I can imagine that they're really chewy unless you cook them properly. So I've left them on for, well, longer. Gonna fry these up in butter. Got a little bit of sea lettuce there. Little bit of sea lettuce there. Couple of oysters, couple of limpets, and some piddock clams. We'll see how that goes. Right, as ever, I'm burning everything because I'm not the best cook in the world, but let's give this stuff a try. This smells so nice. It's just cooked in butter. It's been boiled in salt and then just fried off in a little bit of butter. It's a bit of oyster. Oh, that is so tasty. Oh my God. That was so tasty. Oh wow. Seaweed. Just taste the butter really. A little bit gritty as well. Piddock clams. Well, they are nice. They're lovely. There's a bigger one now. That's the siphon from quite a big piddock. Quite a bit chewy, but nice nonetheless. Look at that oyster. Mmm. Oh my God. That is so tasty. Wow. The only thing I'm not certain about are these limpets. About the bulbous bit on the back. Not sure whether you can eat that or not. That actually has got a slightly different flavour. It's not overpowered by the butter. Them oysters though, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, shall I eat the sack on the back? That's actually tasty. They are nice. They're rubbery, but they're nice. Seaweed. That just tasted of butter. And it's gritty as well. Mmm. Underneath what I suppose is the mantle, you pull that out. That is like, it's not really a worm, but it's like an intestinal sac, and that can come out, and the rest of it you just punch straight in. But I'm going to process these a little bit. Not going to eat all that gunk at the back. Maybe that little one. Also on the front there, that's the operculum. That needs to come off. That's like the little front door. When they go back into their shell, that's what they close it up with. You don't want to eat that. I'm just going to say, I ain't sponsored by them at all. But these Coleman gas canisters, they last forever. Honestly, with them little stoves as well, they give off such fierce heat. But that canister, that other canister that's on there now, cooking away, it's lasted forever. So no one sends me nothing, and I'm not after nothing, to tell you the truth, but I'm just letting you know that that is a really good gas canister. Right, the whelks, they've been boiling for what seemed like an eternity. I've took the operculums off of them, and I've cleaned them out. Some of the black bits at the back that I didn't like the look of, I've taken off. I'm going to fry them in that butter residue now that I fried the other shellfish in. This is the whelks now. Quite bland actually, even though I did fry them off a little bit in butter. I mean, they're not inedible. A little bit of grit. But out of all that stuff that I've just eaten, that's the least flavoursome thing out of all that. Not mad over keen on that. Maybe there's something else you could do with it. But the other common sea snail that we eat in this country, the winkle, is a lot tastier than that, I must say. I'd prefer to eat them. And they're a lot easier to gather. Nevertheless, there's something else to eat. Worth a go. That weren't bad for a free breakfast. I was starving, I haven't eaten nothing, so couldn't have done it in a nicer place either. What a lovely, lovely day for February. It's beautiful. Not a bad morning. I quite enjoyed that. See you in the next video.